All right, this is your Places Call. You are listening to episode 3 of Theatrical Thoughts. My name is Emily Wyrwa.
And I'm Jessica Feit.
And today we are joined by our favorite music director, copyist, and coffee connoisseur, Geoffrey Ko. Geoff was the associate music director for Broadway's Be More Chill and the copyist for the recent production of the Ratatouille TikTok musical. And we are so thrilled to have him here with us today. Hi, Geoff.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, happy to be here.
How's it going in the life of Geoffrey Ko?
It's going good. I had like a super easy day. I was like doing some recording stuff for Charlie Brown, and then went on a walk with a friend and went grocery shopping. And here we are, like super easy day.
Look at that.
Yeah.
And for those of you who do not know, Geoff is our music director for our production of You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown right now. So
Sure am. Yes.
Geoff, are you drinking tea right now?
I'm drinking tea right now.
What kind
like
of
a gentleman?
It's
Tension Tamer. It's the like blue box one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we kind of know.
Yeah.
It's in like nice decaf way to like unwind.
Good stuff.
Not coffee. I'm very surprised.
No, coffee in the morning. We got time. This is a whole long story. I was in the ER the entire afternoon yesterday.
What?
Yeah, neither of you knew this. I was like playing darts with you, Jesse, from the ER. I was having like chest pains and like chest tightness and like some like weird heart palpitation stuff for like 2 hours and was like lightheaded and dizzy. And I was like, I live by myself now. I just like I want to make sure I'm not going into a heart attack like by myself. So I walked to the hospital and like spent 4 hours there. They like did an x-ray, did a like ultrasound on my heart, did some blood tests, checked thyroid stuff, checked everything. Totally fine. They were like, you just probably had too much coffee this morning and are like too stressed about work and like didn't eat enough and like maybe you're a little bit dehydrated and it's like all that shit together. But so I'm cutting back a little bit on everything.
So wow.
1 cup of coffee this morning instead of 2, and I'm drinking decaf tea in the afternoon instead of like black tea.
Well, I'm glad you're okay, but that is the most
totally fine
health issue I've ever heard.
That's not where I thought that story was going. So
I figured neither of you knew this. Yeah. The dude was like, you'd like chill and like stop working so hard and like stop moving your life at such a quick pace.
Well, also you just moved, right? So now.
Yeah, I just moved like 2 weeks ago.
You've been crazy.
Rehearsal for like 11 hours a day on the weekend. It's all the stuff like that like adds up and is like fine by itself. But also my brain is also go. And we're gonna like dial it back a little bit.
Well, so at least nothing's wrong. So yeah. As long as you limit your coffee, you'll be fine.
Right. It was like the best case. It's the easiest thing to fix. It's not like you're having a heart attack or like you have a heart issue.
Super okay. Easy. Well, on that note, if you've listened to our previous episodes with our guests, we are going to be doing our 60-second life story. So, Geoff, you have to summarize your life in 60 seconds, and Emily's going to time it.
I am. I'm going to hold you to it. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'll probably leave out some stuff here and there to get it down to 60, but yeah.
All right, here we go. Ready? Go.
Cool. Born and raised in Westfield, New Jersey. So I'm a Jersey boy. Went to the high school there. My mom also went to Westfield High School, like a long-standing. I like grew up in the same house my mom did. And then I went to Northwestern for theater, originally to be an actor. Auditioned for BFA programs, did all that shindig, and went to Northwestern. The first year there, I kind of found my way into music directing and realized I liked it more, and it was easier and I was better at it. So I started doing that. When I graduated, I moved back to New York, really, with my roommate from college, and was lucky enough to like get a gig through some connections from school at Paper Mill. And then from there, just kind of started doing more and more. That's like professional life in a nutshell. Personal life, I was in the ER yesterday, but that aside, and I just like booked an Airbnb for March, so I have like a nice little cabin, small town getaway. What am I at?
You are at 1 minute and 6 seconds. So
I went over. Sorry.
I'm pretty solid. That's not too bad, Geoff.
Yeah,
I'll take it. So walk me through how young Geoff got into theater. How did you discover acting and all that jazz?
Yeah, I had friends who did it in middle school, because in middle school you're friends with everyone, and I just like had people who did run crew, I had people who did acting stuff, so I auditioned. in 8th grade, and I did that. The play was The Somewhat True Tale of Robin Hood was my first audition, and I got the lead role of the, not Robin Hood, but like the equivalent of like the leading player for this shitty play, which was super fun. All my friends were in it. It was awesome. And then we did Joseph that spring, and I auditioned, and that was my first musical. And I was like, this is fun. The people are nice. Went into high school, did the same thing, and then started having to pick and choose between like basically soccer and baseball, or play and musical. And for whatever reason, decided I liked these people more. Uh, and I started doing that. There was never a moment of like I like started doing theater at 3, or like I took dance or singing lessons. I played piano since I was like 5 and took lessons, so music was always a big part of my life. But theater was always very much a like, these people are cool and I enjoy it, so I'm gonna keep doing it until I can't. And here we are, like 10 years later.
Damn, that's fantastic. I feel that. I didn't get into it so much later. The people.
Great. You were also not like voice lessons from 3 and like dance classes and things.
I was, but Emily
I'm sure
was
you
not.
were. Yeah. Well, you had Lindsay to kind of push you there.
That's true.
But same boat freshman year. Like,
yeah,
it was something I liked, but Les Mis, that was it. Got into it, was like, these people are cool. Okay, sure.
Les Mis?
Les Mis was my first show.
No shit.
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
No shit. Okay. I know.
Yeah.
My first show when I was 4, so a little different.
Great. Love that. Les Mis was like your 45th show or whatever.
Something like that.
Great. Cool.
So now, Geoff, you also, this is something, back Les Mis days, first thing I pretty much knew about you, you have these tattoos. Like, you have such wicked cool tattoos, and I want to hear the backstory of these.
Yeah, so I have two at the moment. The one on my left arm, I was gonna pull it out and show, but we're not gonna see this, right? I don't need to like.
Well, it'll go on YouTube too. So.
Oh, great. Okay, so you can kind of see around my mic, but it's like a New York City skyline, with a treble clef that kind of leads into the skyline. That was my first tattoo. This was the December before Les Mis, so a couple of months before that. I had just gotten back from a vacation with my family to the Cayman Islands, and like had just gotten back to New York, and I was like, man, I really love it here. I'm glad I moved here. I'm glad my industry is here. It was like rounding out my first 2 years of living in New York and like being a working professional in the theater industry, and I was really feeling like this is my city. So I got this. I went to Jersey to get it for whatever reason. Because my sister was getting a nose piercing, and so she had already found a place. And so I like went with her, and the lady there was like super nice. I was like, great, do you want to do my tattoo? She was like, yeah, awesome. Come back, let's do it. I Google imaged a fucking like New York skyline thing, and this was like the 3rd search result, and I brought it in, and I was like, can you work with this? I kind of like it. And like, can we add a treble clef? And she was like, yeah, totally. And so she started like doing some designs. She surprised me with I was going to say Eiffel Tower. That's not with the Empire State Building in the middle. And she was like, I thought it might be cool. And I was like, yeah, I love it. It's like nice in the middle. So that's number one. This is the go side of me. This is the like professional New York, like high speed, high stakes thing. The one on my right arm, which Wyrwa might be less familiar to you. But it's new. Oh no, I've had it for a while though. It's newer, but you've seen it.
Yeah.
It's like a little turtle on a beach with like a palm tree around it. This I got because there's a photo of me. If you dive into like Facebook or Instagram of me like holding up this like little turtle dude on the Cayman Islands. He's super cute. He was like a super nice turtle. But that's why I got the turtle. And this is the side of me that's like, remember to slow down, remember to take vacations, because I had gone like 2 years straight with like no vacation and like no days off by this point. And I was like, I need something to remind me to like calm down, take a breath, book an Airbnb, like go away for a little bit. So I went back, like mentally went back to the Cayman Islands. I was like, that's the best one I've had in a long time. Let me get a tattoo. Went back to the same place to get the same tattoo for like the same lady. She had moved to London. So I got it from another lady who happened to be working there that day. She was super awesome. I basically went in with like, I like the idea of an unfinished circle and a palm tree. And I like the idea of a turtle. You do you with the rest of that. And so she added the like beach and the sunset in the background. and that's where we are.
That's so cool. I like that there's like the different messages.
Yeah, I think the like city skyline one is done, one because it's massive, and two because I'm trying to like get away from that lifestyle a little bit. But the one on the right I might keep adding to little by little, some sort of like outdoorsy thing. My like group of college friends had a close friend pass away earlier, like a few months ago, unrelated to COVID, but it was like a cancer thing, and so we've been playing with like spider type tattoo stuff for her. So I'm going to keep adding to this arm, I think.
That's incredible. I love that.
Nice.
So Jesse, do you want to hop in? I know you have one.
So switching gears a little bit. Well, actually a lot. This has nothing to do with tattoos.
Right.
But can you tell us a little bit about why you chose Northwestern and just your experience there?
Yeah. This is my life in a nutshell. It was a last minute gamble. I didn't know Northwestern was a school until the end of December. My one of my best friends from high school, Rob is like a whole nother fucking story. We went to high school together. We met in preschool. We went to college together. He's the one that like first hired me to music direct a show in college. He's the reason why I'm doing it now. He worked on Broadway Bounty Hunter as like one of the GMs and like signed by we're super close. But he had gotten into their ED because he did Cherubs and then applied there. And so we were talking, it was like, it's a cool school. You might want to check it out. So I started looking at it for a few days and was like, well, the deadline's in 3 days. I guess I'm going to apply. Applied, and then like forgot about it. February rolled around. I got into USC with like a crazy good scholarship, great BFA program, went out there to visit. Scholarship interview went well. I loved the school. I bought a shit ton of USC merch, like fully decked out, and like came back to tech for our musical and was like, I'm going to USC. Great. And then fast forward to like mid-March. Yeah, mid-March is when acceptances come out, right?
Yeah, mid-March.
Yeah. Got into Northwestern. They invited me to like go for a weekend, check it out. I was like, great, cool. Went out there with my mom, stayed with like this dude from New Jersey who was a freshman there, and like spent a weekend there. And I was like, this is really super nice. And I liked the program a lot, which was useful. They have a BA program instead of a BFA program. And they have this musical theater certificate, which was super interesting at the time. Less so now because I don't perform as much. But they are trying to develop that into like a fully fledged BA or BFA program. And they had this like whole they were very focused on an immersive experience and making sure your freshman year you knew how to do lights a little bit and sound a little bit and all that stuff, so you could be a holistic theater maker, which I really liked, and is part of the reason why after going there I was able to shift into music so easily. But yeah, so Northwestern was a complete fucking accident. It was like Rob was like, you should apply, great. And then like if the timelines for USC and Northwestern were switched and USC was the one that I had visited later, closer to the like commitment deadline, I might have went there. But I like lucked out a lot because Northwestern was the right school for me.
That's just classic Geoff.
It was like, it's classic my life in a nutshell. It was like I like got lucky, timeline kind of worked out, and then two years after going there I was like, wow, this is 100% the right school to me. I still hang out with all of my close friends from college. I still work with them. We do little concerts here and there. The program and the curriculum there and the people there and the way they structure their like show season is what allowed me to switch into music directing without changing my major and really just like doing it. And they have a ton of student theater there because each class is like, it's 100 theater majors every year. So it's like a ton. There's like 11 student theater groups. It's awesome.
Damn, that's incredible.
Great.
What was your favorite part? What did you like most about it? Was there something that like stood out, or is it just the whole thing was just everything for you?
I'm going to say the whole experience right now while I stall for a specific one. The nature of the student run organizations, I think, on a holistic but a little bit more specific level. I was involved in a cappella there. I was on the board for one of the student theater boards that focused on like making art accessible to everyone, and just that type of leadership and mentorship and camaraderie that allowed full groups of students sans faculty really to create full seasons of theater and new work even, and put up a cappella concerts and shit. Like, it's stuff that I'm sure is at every school. Those communities are there, but is one of the more memorable things. And then if I can sidebar for a hot sec, the other one is within New Work specifically, the WAMU show, which I will plug any chance I get, but it's a fully student written musical every year. Used to be a concert. They switched to like a full book musical in like 2010 or whatever. And is now just like a fully student written musical, student orchestrated, 2.5 hours, full book. The first couple were based on like a modern Shakespeare and like shit like that. And now it's just like a fully original show that people pitch, and then they land on one concept, and they have some head writers. I music directed it for 2 years with my friend Noah.
So is it a different show every year?
Different show every year, like whole new show. They start from scratch. The show goes up in like April or in May, and then come around June, there's new leadership for next year, and they start from scratch and like start brainstorming storylines and like plot lines over the summer, and then everyone gets back in fall and starts writing it. It's
That's
written
so cool.
in like a weird way that is not at all it doesn't create good stories, right? It's written by breaking up the show into 9 sections, and you have a group. It's great for learning, but it's not good for like cohesiveness. But yeah, it's a group of like 40 students like write and orchestrate a full musical with like, a full song list and a full orchestra. And it's directed by a professional, and it's music supervised by a professional, and it's designed by professionals, but like stage managed by students, all of that stuff, performed by students, etc. So that launched me into the whole, the like new work path that I do now.
That's awesome. I think that's such a cool concept for like to have at a college.
Yeah, that I will say I think is pretty unique to Northwestern. The student run groups are everywhere and super good, but WAMU is unique. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So cool.
Okay, Emily, do you want to go to our next question?
I think that you kind of touched on this a little bit, but was there like, what made you want to pursue the arts as a career? Like, what do you think helped you kind of come to the conclusion that like, this is what you were going to do for work? I mean, you're such a workaholic. I get you. How did you
started
think
doing it? I don't know. I never have a good answer for this question, because at the end of the day, it was like, I did it in high school, and like it, so when I was applying to schools, right? Half the schools I applied to, Wyrwa, you're going to identify with this. Half of the schools I applied to were like poli-sci and IR schools. And like, there was a world in which like I went to Georgetown or GW and like worked either, in a congressman's office or like abroad, as a, like working in a diplomat's office. Oh, excuse me. So that was part of which, like, the fact that I chose Northwestern was one of the reasons why I did theater and not, a different career path. And then it was always this is the thing I really enjoy. And especially once I got into musicals and new work and music directing, I was like, I love doing this. I don't mind that I work super long hours to do it. I enjoy doing it, and I love the people that I do it with. So I'm going to keep doing it until I either can't, right? Until either no one hires me, or I get to a point where I'm not making enough money to sustain the family or the lifestyle that I want. And so far, I have yet to hit either of those. So I'm still doing it.
So wild. I mean, I know we've talked about like you did Model UN and all that type of stuff in high school. So there was definitely that dichotomy for you.
Yeah, same exact thing. I loved Model UN. I love like history and like politics were my favorite courses. I like didn't take a science class senior year, but I took like 3 history class. You know what I mean? It was like stuff like that. I loved debate. So I was always, I didn't want to be an elected politician. I didn't want the spotlight, which probably should have told me that I shouldn't have been an actor. But I liked writing speeches, and I liked working on, that type of strategy.
I feel like you and Emily are very similar in that way.
I think we are.
In a different timeline, you guys would be working together like your entire life for that kind of stuff.
Totally.
Absolutely.
100%.
And I'm the complete opposite of that.
Yeah, you're just
so I wouldn't be involved there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so moving on, can you walk us through how you got your start in the professional world of theater and how you got involved with Be More Chill, and then how you found out that you booked Be More Chill?
Yeah, you guys are gonna hate me.
Oh, God.
The way I got involved in like professional theater as a whole was an extension of the WAMU show. Um, by my senior year, Northwestern had established this really good partnership with Paper Mill because the executive director, artistic director, one of the heads of Paper Mill, Mark Hobie, great dude. Taught some classes to me when I did Paper Mill one summer there. But he was a Northwestern alum. So he had gotten back in contact with the guys who ran the Northwestern theater program. They had set up this thing where they would award 5 to 10 um, assistant positions, basically, to Northwestern kids who are graduating or juniors on Paper Mill new work, specifically because it was WAMU. So stage managers would get a chance to work as a PA on a new show, and I got the chance to work as a music assistant on this new show, Honeymooners, that was going up like the summer after I graduated or something like that. So I started doing that. I came back here. I did that. I did one show at Nymph right before that summer with my friend Connor, who graduated from Northwestern. And then I did the Paper Mill thing. Great experience. Lived at home. It paid like $100, but super awesome to like be in the room on this like music team of 5 people, making a new work with like fucking John Rando, who like directed on Broadway, like stuff like that. Great experience. And then between the like 4 other music team members, I guess I did a good job. And they started hiring me for other shit along the way, little concerts, readings. The rehearsal pianist, oddly enough, Geraldine Anello, awesome woman. She hired me for a lot of things after. One of them was to be her assistant on this concert that Laura Bell Bundy was doing, who she was also in Honeymooners, which is how we knew each other. But Laura Bell was doing this concert at the town hall called Double Standards. It was like a massive. Wyra's nodding like she knows it. Good. Cool. Or you read
And
about it
I'm
on my
just still
website.
here with my jaw dropped because Laura Bell Bundy is like one of my favorite Broadway stars. So you're gonna introduce us.
She's awesome. Wish her all the best if she happens to be listening to this. But she was doing this concert called Double Standards at Town Hall. Super awesome thing that was like all about female empowerment, all about double standards, obviously. It was people like Sarah Bareilles and like Rosie O'Donnell. It was like an awesome set list. And so I was helping Geraldine with that. And one of the orchestrators, because they divvied it out to like 100 people because the timeline was ridiculous. One of the orchestrators was Emily Marshall, who would go on to music direct Be More Chill. So we met each other at the after party because she and Geraldine were also best friends. So they were hanging out and I was talking to Geraldine. And so Emily and I got to talking. We like hung out over a drink. We hit it off well. We exchanged numbers. That was it. Obviously, we have a lot of mutual friends. So we like kept hearing about each other and like seeing each other's work on Facebook. And then 5 months later, she texted me and was like, "Hey, dude, got good vibes from you. Might have a job for you if you want to like grab a drink and like talk about it." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm free on Friday. Let's go." So we grabbed a whiskey at like 4:00 on a Friday before I was going to Paper Mill actually to see another show. And Marshall was like, "So they just announced the Be More Chill off Broadway thing. I'm doing that. Do you want to be my associate?" We had never worked together. It was like she had heard good things about me. I had heard good things about her. We like vibed well, talked well, got along well. And she was like, "You're maybe a person I want in the room." So I hopped on board as her associate. Obviously we got along super well. And like still we're like very close friends now, but she took me to Broadway with her and we've like done other shit since and other workshops and stuff. And she's like a close friend and a close collaborator now. But was like we met at a bar at an after party, and then she texted me 5 months later.
That's again typical Geoff. To just literally get text, to literally just be asked like, "Oh, do you want to come work on Broadway with me?" And you'll be like, "Okay."
I will say it's not uncommon. I think in the industry for that to happen. It's such a small, especially in like the music portion. It's such a small group, and people know each other and know of each other. And I was lucky that was a very specific love. It was an off-Broadway associate gig, which most people, Emily was subbing a lot on Broadway. And so most people that she knew were playing or music directing Broadway shows, and they were not going to drop that for like an associate off-Broadway gig. So I was super lucky there.
Did you know it was going to Broadway after that, or did you think it was just going to be off Broadway and that was it?
No, I thought we all thought there was maybe a chance, but the gig was like, this is an off-Broadway summer thing to like capitalize on the social media stuff that was taken off at that point. And that was it.
Oh.
Yeah, it was like a nice like 12-week gig for me. I got to conduct for a little bit, and like that was supposed to be the end of it.
So then from there, how did you find out it was moving to Broadway?
Yeah, they told us a few days before it was announced. I think the original announcement was like the Times, they like took out a full page ad or something. But they told us before a show that it was going to happen. This was like the last like 3 weeks of the run, maybe. I had started conducting. So yeah, I think it was the last like 3 weeks of the run. Before one of the shows, they called a emergency tech rehearsal at 5 p.m. before the show's at like 7:30. So the call time, normally was like 7 o'clock. They called an emergency fly rehearsal or some sort of like weird thing that we like, okay, so confused why everyone needs to be there, but great. And they like huddled us all in a circle. And Jerry, the producer, was like, we have some news, and then just like started talking. And there's videos of this now on the internet. So I'm not going to like, there's no need for me to talk through it. You can watch Jerry do the whole fucking speech.
Oh, well, now I have to watch this after.
Yeah, I think it's like Jen Tepper on her iPhone, like walking around the circle, getting everyone's reactions. But yeah, Jerry was like, we're moving to Broadway, and the goal is to like take as many people as we can.
That's awesome.
So now what's your reaction to this news? I mean, was this something that you kind of saw yourself doing, or was like Broadway not on your radar?
Oh, Broadway was on my radar. Broadway was the only way I was going to make enough money to have a family in this fucking industry. Broadway was on the radar. Broadway for this show was becoming more and more of a hope. By that point, especially as we went on the run longer and longer, the audience reaction at that point was super great. And especially in the off-Broadway theater versus the Broadway theater, because it was so small and because the run was so short, the audience was always filled primarily with fans who either saw it at Two River or like watched the bootlegs, listened to the albums, and they were the ones on social media and Tumblr making it take off. So the reception was great. So we were like, oh, this is awesome. This feels good. So after a while, it kind of became is there a theater open? Will the Schuberts or the Nita, will someone take us, rather than like, is there a chance we're going? It was kind of, is the opportunity there logistically? Yeah. So it was super exciting.
That's awesome. And kind of going off of that, when you were on Be More Chill, when you were playing for Be More Chill on Broadway, you got some cool fan mail. What's the coolest fan mail you've ever received?
Oh yeah. I'm not going to go get them because I'm like tethered in with my headphones right now. There's two really cool ones that come to mind. Three, actually, two of them are pretty similar. One is this like hand-drawn a picture that I can see on my fridge right now by this woman named Kaho in Japan. She's a huge Joe fan. And has followed a lot of his work and was super supportive of us. She like sent presents and like food all the time. But she drew all of us, the entire like cast and orchestra and creative team by hand, and then colored them in, and then copied them and like put them onto things. But it looks like a hand-drawn the copy job is great. So there's like what looks like a hand-drawn, hand-colored in drawing of the like 40 of us or whatever on my fridge, which is super awesome. And then she did the same thing for Broadway Bounty Hunter, same kind of thing. So that's so cool. One. Yeah. The other one is like, there's like two little figurines of myself, one like hanging on a lamp and one like standing. One of them is those like little bead things that you like put together and then you like melt and you
iron on.
Like, yeah, you like iron it on and like it creates one thing. So there's one is that, and like one is like a sewn like doll kind of thing of me. Yeah, super nice.
That's awesome.
I think that Be More Chill, that's one of those shows that, I mean, the fan response to that show is so huge. It's so cool.
Yeah, critical response aside, the fans were awesome. The fans were very supportive. The fan mail was great. The like stage door reception every night was awesome. and like super smart, engaging, and like nice fans. You know, it wasn't like a crazy concert fans. It was people who like understood that like George was a person and like going to work every day, but also like super supportive of the work he was doing and like wanted to show that.
That's awesome. I had the privilege of getting to see Be More Chill with Mr. Geoffrey Ko and
You
going
did.
backstage after and seeing him. So that was very cool because this
You
was
did.
after, because we met probably 2.5 years ago, probably.
Yeah.
And I
Wicked?
saw Be More Chill not, yeah. I saw Be More
Yeah.
Chill not this past summer, but the summer before. So we had known each other for like a year and a half at that point.
Yeah, because Wicked would have been right before we started rehearsals on Broadway, and then you saw it that summer. Yeah, so like 6 months.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, sure. Because Wicked was December, and then we started rehearsals in New York in January.
Was it that soon after? Oh, wow.
Yeah, at least for me. We opened in March, so you probably saw it like May, June. But yeah, it was
I
like
think I
six
saw it
months.
in June. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's wild.
Okay, Emily, do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, I always love these questions, but funniest like backstage mishap from Be More Chill. Anything comes to mind there?
Oh my God. Uh, Mishaps. We've had like a couple of like random things. Nothing crazy is coming to mind right now. We always have musically we use this program called Ableton, which is different from. I'm gonna like dive into like music tech nerd stuff for a hot sec. We use this program called Mainstage to make all the sounds and like control our keyboards to for the keyboards to play whatever sound we need. And then we use this program called Ableton to basically fire pre-recorded sequences. So a lot of the like more expansive or like synthy stuff that you can't do live. Charlie Rosen, the brilliant orchestrator supervisor, would create those sounds, and then we would build this like Ableton program that the conductor would have to fire as the like seventh pedal or whatever underneath our keyboards. And because we had that sequence there, that allowed us to put in this thing called time code because we know those sequences are going to happen the exact same way every night because the tempo is mapped out, right? And so lights and sound and scenic, they can tap into this time code and attach events onto that. So they can fire lights based on where we are in the time code, which means if Emily or I miss a pedal one night, there's chances to get back on. You know, we can like fast forward to the next cue and like hit go, but it means there won't be time code for like 4 or 8 bars. And so lights won't fire or scenic pieces won't move. And so there were a couple of like those little things here and there that the stage manager will see and just start calling live, but we'll miss the first couple. So like the bed wouldn't move out for Katie one night or like something like that. What else? We've had understudies go on mid-show, uh, which is not uncommon, but in our short run, I think it only happened 2 or 3 times. Sweet Talia, Talia Suskow, Penn State grad, a year younger than me. She covered all the ladies and was with us off Broadway. Her first performance on Broadway, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, was a mid-show cover. She like went on halfway through Act One or Act Two, or maybe at intermission, and just like got thrown on. So stuff like that. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not like giving you a good answer to like crazy shit that happened. Um, yeah, we played
I,
Catan a lot.
oh, I've played that every day of quarantine. So I remember because I came to the stage door to visit you one day,
Yep.
and because I was going to see Waitress, and then I was like, "Oh, Geoff, I'm in the city. I'm gonna come say hi." So I was at the stage door, and this was before I had ever heard of it or started playing it. And you're like, "Oh, I'm playing Catan." I'm like what game can't wait to see me? And then I was like, "Oh, I get it
You
now."
get it now. You understand. Yeah, we
Oh,
would
I
have
totally
people
get
from
it
like
now.
other shows come in and swing by and like play in between. Right. It became like a great hang. Yeah. Like Alex, what's his name from Dear Evan Hansen, like Carly, like came over and just like watched us play and like built a guitar over a weekend. We had dudes who were subbing at like Hamilton come in and play with it. Was awesome. It was like a good hang.
That's so fun.
I mean, if you're going to have team bonding, I think Catan is clearly the way to do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to break up a team real quick, but you get over it.
Emily's only played it once with me, and she was able to pick it up. Like, I still don't understand. She was able to pick it up in like 10 minutes. She was like, okay, got it.
She's a smart girl. She's
I know,
a
it's
model
so
UN
annoying.
girl.
It's really annoying.
I say.
This is great. She understands the politics of it.
It's all that, AP Gov, all the AP Gov assignments.
It's just alliances and resource gathering and like smart building methods.
Okay, well, now we have to play the three of us one day, and I have to beat both of you.
I'm sure you won't, but you can try.
I'm saying, no shit we have to play, but you're going to lose. It's going to be tragic.
Okay, Emily, you've played once. I've played over like 300 times, probably.
My money would still be on Wyrwa.
Okay, moving on. Okay, so, Emily, do you have a question?
I do. What would you say is your favorite part about what you do?
The like dumb answer is the people always. I enjoy the people I'm in a room with, and I've been lucky enough that I've been in great rooms. And they are the like weird nature of theater that you guys know is like you become best friends with the entire creative team and cast for a week for a reading or like 2 months for a show or whatever. And then Hallie just sent me a recording. Thank you. Right on time. Yeah, and then you like never talk to some of them again, but it was a great experience. And I've been doing this thing where, once every show or every workshop, I like hit it off really well with one or two people, and those become like lifelong friends that carry along the way, which I think is hard to find in any other industry, except for maybe the service industry if you have people rotating in and out. But it beats like being at a desk with the same 5 people. You meet new people. I have a lot more friends that I can rely on, I think, compared to my friends who work in marketing and stuff like that. The people. And then the other thing is because I do a lot of new work and I would like to continue doing that. It's just the concept of like building something new and showing it to the world, whether or not it's good. I do plenty of stuff that I know is shitty and everyone working in the room knows is shitty. But we're doing it either because there's good money behind it or because it's a good adaptation that, people want to see or whatever, or it's a good experience for whoever. But like putting out new stuff into the world, and then when you can make a statement with that stuff is really nice. I've been lucky enough to do some workshops that do that. A lot of Joe's stuff is about, honoring the underdog and bringing out the people that are forgotten. So that's a good message to send to people.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And like what you said about the relationships, Emily and I talk about that all the time, that theater in general just brings a sense of community that you just wouldn't get anywhere else. Yeah. So we just think that we're so lucky that we've been able to build these relationships through theater.
100%.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And now, I mean, it's crazy right now with everything being all shut down. What kind of changed in your life once COVID hit, I guess?
Yeah, everything's virtual, if you haven't heard. I
wasn't aware,
Yeah, I don't know if you've been following the news or anything, or so that was different. I was doing a show in Pennsylvania, actually, like when everything shut down. I was doing an out of town of this new show called Otherworld, which is gonna be super awesome whenever we can do it again. It's the guys who wrote Title of Show. It's like a video game musical. It's awesome. It looks awesome. It sounds awesome.
That sounds right up your alley.
It really is. It's all of the like a lot of the team was like gamers. It was awesome. So that shut down obviously, and that was like the last like fully in-person theater thing that I've done. And I'm super thankful in that I've been able to keep doing theater this time. I've had plenty of friends move into like real estate or marketing and stuff like that, but I've been able to do theater. I moved back to Jersey with my parents right after everything shut down, because at that point we were like, cool, I'm going to go back to Jersey for 2 weeks. This is going to blow over. We'll go back. We'll finish the run. Did not happen. I was in Jersey for 9 months. It was
still not back to normal.
Still not back to normal. And who knows when it will be. But I, it was great time to spend with my family. It was great time to be in the suburbs in a point in my life where I was trying to slow down anyways. And then, thankfully I had this great relationship with Lindsay and we enjoy working with each other, and I was able to keep doing that. As you guys know, we did some outdoors stuff. All of the stuff we did started rehearsals on Zoom though.
Yeah,
Right?
well,
Yeah.
we were actually going to go into talking about the Pixie stuff next. So if you want to talk a little bit about what you've done with that, because we all three of us met through Pixie Dust.
Right.
So you've been our music director for a few different shows, but you've done all of the virtual stuff. So if you want to tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. I'm just gonna like sidebar real quick before I dive in because I'm gonna keep talking about that. But I've
Yeah.
also been lucky enough to like keep doing developmental workshops, which is crazy, for new work, all virtually, which is like the only thing that can happen theatrically right now, unless you're in bumblefuck nowhere and you're just doing it without masks on or whatever. Um, but I've talked to plenty of like friends in management in design in those types of positions in theater who have no work right now. And as like a director, a music director, or an actor, there's a small group of us have been able to find like developmental work for new stuff because people want to get shit ready to like throw on a stage when we get back, and we're able to work on scores, we're able to work on scripts virtually. Uh, so that was awesome. And then the other half of my life has been pixie dust. Do you want me to just like vomit shit out about that, or?
Yeah,
We
let's
haven't
hear it.
We've talked a little bit about Pixie Dust, but if you could tell us like your experience and what it's been, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, Lindsay and I met in college. Super odd. We didn't really become close until I started working for her, oddly enough. And I had done some random stuff here and there for like 2 years before we met, actually, before Wicked. And then starting from Wicked, I started to work a little bit more consistently with her, and then have been working with her exclusively during this pandemic. And in the beginning, I think Emma was the first thing we did, right?
Yeah, I think
After
so.
Something Rotten. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Emma, uh, we were just trying to figure out, could we do it? What could we do? What would it look like? And we decided that we had enough to go on, that there was a way to present this show, even if we didn't know what that looked like at that time. And we had a good way to rehearse it. We thought Zoom would work. We thought the like pre-records would work. We did some research into a lot of the apps that were coming out at the time to allow people to sing live, and neither of us really trusted it well enough. So we started there, and we started rehearsals not knowing what the show would look like, as you guys remember. And then we were able to kind of figure out this outdoor filming aspect, which was great. So we played with the like movie musical idea and decided that was the way to go, and we would pre-record everything. And then we moved on to Faith Trust, which was an entirely pre-recorded but entirely outdoor performance. It was filmed to be streamed later, but we had a live audience, which was new. Emma was like filmed like a movie was. It was filmed scenes day to day, and then we put it all together. Faith Trust was like done as a run with audiences, which was super cool and new, and entirely rehearsed virtually until we started staging it in person. And then now with
Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown. Thank you. Wow. With Charlie Brown, now we're going the like fully virtual route, where we're gonna film it the way I did this production of Tuck with the student group at UPenn a few months ago, and we basically filmed a movie musical, which is what we're doing now, but entirely at home. So we'll rehearse over Zoom. We'll be with each other on Zoom when we're filming. We'll be able to like read our scenes live with our scene partners, and I'll be able to hit play for the songs, so we still lip sync to our own voices. But then we film on our phones, and like we have a professional editor coming in to like put it together with like green screen Charlie Brown backdrops and like the doghouse for Snoopy. So we're now moving to this like fully virtual but fully produced movie. Uh, Basically, this entire pandemic, I could talk more about this, but this entire pandemic, at least for Lindsay and I, has been a huge learning experience of like, how can we do this? How can we make it better? Right. If you remember, like Wyrwa, you probably, for Emma, I didn't fucking rehearse the ensemble. I was like, here are your tracks, have fun. Because at that point, Lindsay and I were both like, there's no way to sing together. I guess this is it. And then as we went on for Faith Trust, we realized, okay, if we block out more time, we can sing one by one. And through, I think, teaching the Home for the Holidays classes, I realized like, okay, it actually helps a lot if even I'm able to sing and you all sing, along with me, muted, right? We can like rehearse group stuff. And especially with the older kids, you guys are smart enough and self-aware enough to be like, you know what? I didn't do it correctly. I know you can't hear me, but like, help me. So that's worked out really well for group vocals. So it's been a lot of like learning how to do the thing better. And also with the seasonal shit, like we can't do a show outside right now. So figuring out how we adapt to that.
Yeah, because all 3 shows that we've done, they've all been different.
Yeah.
Because Emma was done more like a movie musical. Faith
Mhm.
Trust we did outside, and then Charlie Brown we're doing completely virtual. So each is different.
Yeah.
But for
Yeah.
all of them, we recorded the vocal. So if you want to explain a little bit more about like what we do for that.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
bane of your existence right here.
Yeah, listen, it's great. It gives me a lot more control over everything, and I'm a huge control freak, which is awesome. But yeah, for everyone who's listening, we pre-record the sung moments, every sung moment in the show, and some of, most of, all of, depending on the production, the dialogue. And so we learn all the music the way we would normally, but virtually, I guess. And then week to week, there exist backing tracks of the show. All of the music in the show performed by an orchestra or a band. For Faith Trust, I made those backing tracks. I just like produced them the way a producer would. For Emma and for Charlie Brown, they were provided by outside companies. And the singers are able to record their parts to that, much like you would in a professional recording studio, either with like a mic setup that you guys have, or we figured out that like voice memos on your phone works super well, and you just listen to the tracks in your headphones like you would in a recording studio and record your voice singing, and then everybody emails them to me, and I have the awesome job of putting that all into one file with the backing track, like a recording engineer and mixer would for a cast album, and mixing it, putting all the effects on we need, fixing people's pitches if I need to, which is like a dicier thing. But the thing that we actually can't control is like we just don't have the time to spend on cutoffs, right? And so things like that, and like the fact that we're not singing together doesn't allow you guys to intuit like, oh, we're all cutting off here, we're all taking a breath here, I hear everyone doing the pickup this way, so I'm gonna do it that way. So there's little things like that I just have to like move consonants around, that type of like production that would go into basically producing a cast album. And then we start rehearsing with those, and eventually we lip sync to those while we film, or in the case of Faith Trust, during a live performance, like a Disney stage show at Disney World. But yeah, the job has basically become rehearse and produce a cast album for every show that we can like hit play and film to.
It's very impressive.
It
Like,
really
for us,
is.
we basically listen to the tracks, record it, and then, well, everyone emails it, but we text it because
Yeah.
it's Geoff, so we
It's
can text it.
enough of you text me. It's fine. As long as stuff is clearly labeled, it's great.
Well, I texted a week early. Emily texted that day because we work very differently when it comes to that. But then
Jesse
you
also
just
sends me a shit ton of bloopers, which is
Oh.
hilarious. If anyone else is listening to this and is like, I want to send you all my outtakes, great. Make sure they're clearly labeled as outtakes. Jesse
Also-
always labels them as like an ugh or a blah. But they're
Also,
fun.
there was a fun time I was assisting Polka Dots and Geoff was music directing it. And I had sent him a blooper for Faith Trust. And in front of all the children, he started playing my blooper,
Yeah,
which was
they love that.
me literally like groaning as I messed up. So that was a fun time.
That's so kind of you, Geoff. Just so thoughtful.
Yeah, I just, I'm going to embarrass you if I can.
Also, my favorite
enough.
recent blooper is when I'm recording and I was like, oh, I'm 3 minutes in, it was a pretty good take. And then all of a sudden the phone starts ringing. And I was like, are you kidding me?
You were pretty near the end of the song, too.
I was.
We were
And I
getting
was,
there.
and I had gotten through the whole song because it was a long song. It was over 5 minutes. And I was like, oh, I'm like a good portion through. I got through the part that I was iffy with, and then the phone rings.
You also, and I say this now 3 weeks after you sent this in, but like, you can just send me that and tell me to cut out the very end and then just re-record the very end, right?
I realized that after the fact.
Okay, great.
But I was like,
Cool.
I'll feel better
Yeah.
if it's just one take. And then I sent you 5 different versions of book report yesterday.
Yes. That is actually, to like dive back into like professional stuff. That is the nice thing about the pre-recording thing now, is like actors especially get a chance to like get every section that they're doing the way they like it, right? We can record verses separately. We can redo individual lines and words. You don't have to get everything right on one take, and like you only have to sing the high A once. It's not, you don't have to sing it for a full weekend. You do it once and you're good, so that's kind of been nice.
So in the professional sphere of like what you're working on, is it a similar process to what you do with Pixie Dust?
Yeah, it is. A couple of the earlier readings, just like Pixie Dust, we were like figuring some shit out and like figuring out how to do it. So a couple of the earlier ones, we did a like hybrid of live and pre-recorded stuff where the tracks were the same. We had made tracks for this new musical, and we got the ensemble to record everything, and we got one person for every duet to record everything, and then one of the actors would hit play on their end and sing along live to it. And that was like dice. There were like some sound issues. Some people had better mics, some people had better computers. So it was not a great way to do it. We started realizing it. So now we're doing it exactly the same way as Lindsay and I have learned. So this next workshop that I'm doing, it happens in February and March, because we're taking a week in February to teach all the music to the principals, record all the music. We're going to take 3 weeks to like put it all together. And then we're going to come back together in March to do a reading where we read the lines and then we hit play, and then we read the lines over the underscore and we hit play, just like we do now, except we're not filming. But yeah, everything's functioning. There's really only one good way to do it now.
That's awesome. So are you basically saying that we're doing professional stuff?
Correct. You are doing professional level theater.
Oh, so should I put it on my resume as like Broadway professional stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if your work is, but in general, the production is.
Well, there you go. Wait, are you calling my work? I just got that.
Wow,
Moving on. I've had a long day.
That really took you a sec.
We got there.
I've had a long day. So
Yeah, no, for sure.
Moving on.
Let's talk Ratatouille for a hot sec.
Oh God, let's.
So,
okay, involved with that.
Yeah. How did you book this gig, Jeff?
I had been following Ratatouille when it was like hopping on TikTok.
Well, as everyone should.
Well, you say that. All my friends were like, shut the fuck up and like stop sending this to me. And I was like, this is hilarious and funny and super cool that they're like writing a full musical on TikTok. And then fast forward, 5 months or whatever. The day they announced it, I'm going to tell this in a super long way.
Yeah, no, totally.
We want to hear it.
Great. I was doing a workshop of a brilliant new show called My Heart Says Go. It's going to be super awesome. But my friend Talia, who was one of the swings in Be More Chill, I had gotten her to play the lead in that. And so we were in rehearsal together, and Emily Marshall, of all people, from Be More Chill, texted me and was like, do you have Talia's number? Like I might have a gig for her. And I was like, yeah, here she is. I'm actually in rehearsal right now. Like, what's it for, et cetera, et cetera. And Emily was like, winky face, like, you'll see soon. And then the next day they announced it. And Talia and I had been talking because I was like, Emily's coming your way. I don't know for what. And Talia's like, oh, I wonder like what's happening right now. And then they announced Ratatouille, and we were both like, there's no way. Turns out Emily Marshall texted me. She was like, yeah, I'm doing Ratatouille. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I've been following this for months. Do you need anyone? I'm happy to like do anything on it. I didn't have time, but I was like, this is a great bit that I just want to like, this is funny. And all of my friends at this point had been like they're, if they did like, you're going to be working on the show on Broadway in like 2 years, it's going to be fucking hilarious. And so when they announced they're doing it, I was like, we have to do this for the bit. And so Emily was like, great. We need a second hand on copying if you want to do that and like help us out with some. I ended up doing some like percussion programming and like that kind of shit. But yeah, it was like an Emily Marshall, and it was like, hey, this looks cool. Like, can I have in? And she was like, yeah.
I feel like the moral of the story is that it's always Emily Marshall and your commitment to your comedy.
Yes, comedy, good bits, Emily Marshall, and always ask. Worst they can do is say no.
Like, so do you need me to come work on this Broadway show with you?
Literally, I was like, you're doing Ratatouille, do you need anyone? And she was like, yeah, I guess so. That's it. That's the whole story.
Life of Geoffrey Ko.
Yeah, I mean, she could have easily said no, and like that's happened plenty of times, but that's how you get a job, is you ask.
So okay, this is the real question. Were you on the Ratatouille side of TikTok while this was all happening?
Yes. I had actually gotten off of it by that point, oddly enough. And I think the hype was starting to die down at that point because the peak of it was like August through October, probably. So by December, it was winding down, but I was on it for all of the hype. I was on it for like the OG video from, was it Daniel? It might have, I don't know. I was on for the original like finale and then all the shit that started coming up. And I think I got on it because of Daniel's grocery store musical. Before that, I don't know if you guys were on that.
We don't use TikTok.
Oh God, guys.
Terrible.
Similar thing. Daniel wrote this act one finale of a grocery store musical where and we're standing in a grocery store and I don't even know what yeah. It's like, and like people started duetting that. No one wrote new songs for it as far as I can remember, but like that took up my entire For You page for a long time, was like all these fucking duets. It came to like 10 people. There was like, it started becoming a bit. It was like people were like being the like cash register, and someone was like the bird flying through the like produce aisle. And that's the like bits that I live for. So
that, I was gonna say, that's very up your alley.
Yeah, I think that's how TikTok was like, oh, you'll like Ratatouille. Yeah.
Oh wow.
I think that it's just the coolest thing. I mean, first of all, the irony, but second of all, like it is so cool that this started on TikTok and became this whole thing and raised freaking $2 million for the Actors Fund. Like, come on.
It's awesome. Like, great cause. The timeline was ridiculous, and we can talk about that or not, but it was, they hired me 3 weeks before the show. They like emailed Wayne Brady like 2 weeks before the show, and was like, do you want to do this thing? And of course he's like, yeah, because he's awesome. And he like, half memorized a show and like found some costumes and like learned a shit ton of music in 2 weeks and like filmed it. That awesome. Like turnaround is crazy. But yeah, all for a good cause.
Also, Geoff, you're the kind of person, you don't get fazed by celebrities or any of that kind of stuff. And I'm the complete opposite.
You are.
And
she cannot
last year, Geoff and I were at the Tonys rehearsal. We were both there and we were texting the whole time. And I was like freaking out. I was like, oh my God, Ben Platt. We didn't go together, but we were both
yeah. I have no memory of this. I have no idea what story you're about to tell.
I was like freaking out. I was like, oh my God, Ben Platt just walked by, and you're like, I'm tired. I want to go home.
That is true. Yeah, because it was like a Friday morning.
I don't know, something, but I was like losing my mind here, and you're like, I'm tired. I want to take a nap. Like, why am I here?
You know what it was? I went with Emily, and I think like we had a show that night, and then we both had like a late night like out drinking, and we had 2 shows that day, and both of us were like, get me out of here.
Yeah, and I was the opposite. I was like,
having a great time.
God. And I was like freaking out, and I was like, oh my God, I just walked, like Kristen Chenoweth just walked by me. You're like, cool.
Yeah. Were you in the orchestra?
Yeah.
Yeah. Emily and I were in the mezzanine, and I was sitting as you do in like a high school auditorium with like my legs up on the chair in front of me and like lying down with my hood on. I was like very clearly hungover and very clearly like, I don't want to be here right now. Yeah.
And that's just like very our relationship. Also, I'm like over here freaking out about these Broadway stars walking by, and you're like, okay,
shut up.
Literally.
Yeah.
Hi, Emily. Any last questions that you have?
I'm curious as to your timeline. Well, circling back to Ratatouille for a hot sec, like what that whole process looked like for you. Like when that happened, you were going insane. It was so intense, but
yeah. So my job on that was there were 2 of us basically copying the entire show, which meant the like workflow of that from the music end was someone would write a song, and I think all the songs at that point were written from TikTok, but Daniel, the supervisor, would then arrange it, expand it, turn it into like a thing. Maybe someone else would write some additional lyrics. They would do that, send it off to Macy, the orchestrator, who would approve the arrangement and then create a full orchestration, and then send it to me and Jesse, the other copyist, and we would copy the whole show, meaning like Macy would like vomit all the notes on the page in like a score. And then it was up to me and Jesse to go into each individual part and make the flute part look good, make it readable, make sure, it's the right amount of bars and it looks good and it's legible. And there's like no errors and shit. and then we then would PDF it and start handing it off to be printed. So all that, which normally that timeline normally happens in months, half a year, plus a lot of it's done already because there are workshops and et cetera, et cetera. And this was going from like 0 to done over the course of a week for a 12-song musical.
Were you like losing your mind? Were you just like,
oh yeah, it was a lot of like, here's a song, 2 hours later, here's a song, and it was one of those things that like, in the middle of me trying to be better about like work-life balance and like relaxing, it was one of those things that like you just had to be around because the shit piles up and like the orchestra goes to record in 3 days and then the singers record. Like you just, for this 1 week, you just have to be available to like do it whenever it gets to you in the like lineup. But then, you know, after a week, they moved on to start working with the actors, and then they recorded with the band, and they started like kept producing, you know, the tracks as we do with Pixie Dust. And I was done. So, you know, so the bulk of my stress was like a week and a half. Super easy.
Super easy. That does not sound super easy, but
super short. The bulk of my stress was less than 1/50th of a year, if that helps.
Very specific there.
Yeah, I'm like getting stressed talking about it right now.
Okay.
Excellent. All right. Well, I think that's all that we've got. But Geoff, do you have anything else that our listeners should know about you that you want to talk about or share?
He gets annoyed by us.
That's very true.
Nah, it's a playful thing. You can tell when I'm actually annoyed with someone, and it's never you two. I don't think so. I hope you all enjoyed, whoever's listening. Find me on Instagram. I'm always trying to get more followers.
You're looking for the clout there, Geoff.
Always. Well, listen, in an industry like theater, clout cannot hurt.
That's true that.
You know?
Well, we will definitely be tagging you on our Instagram, Theatrical Thoughts.
You can find us on Instagram at Theatrical Thoughts Podcast and on Twitter as well. And all of the links will be in our bios of where you can find the podcast. This podcast, if you're not already watching on YouTube, it's going to be on YouTube, so you can watch there. And if you want to see Geoff's tattoos in the beginning, that'll be there as well. But yeah, that's all that we've got. So thank you guys so much for listening and tuning in. And thanks again, Geoff, for taking the time to chat with us and sharing your wisdom and your stories and jokes and all that jazz. So
thank you. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, guys.